Cryptorocker, what's going on, guys? So, it is in the, I guess, middle time of May 2018. I believe it's May 15th today. So, what we have in store, what I wanted to talk about today specifically, is MZcoin, as we see it right here. And so recently I was in London for the Skyledger conference in London. I got to see, like I said, all the great speakers from the Skyledger community and also some of the other people that attended the event. It was a great success. But Angela is somebody that I met, and she is working with MZcoin along with Jane. Now this project, the reason I want to talk about it today is because it's really, really, really cool. And you know what? I mean, for everyone that watches my channel, I like to make things easy. So, you know, let's just make it. Here's what I would do, because I'm in rock and roll, okay, Cryptorocker. So you take rock and roll and you take education, right? Now education is way, way older. Okay, we get it. But let's just say rock and roll and education. Now over the years, rock and roll has continued to be rock and roll, and along with education, education has continued to be education. But as time goes on, things evolve. There's new ideas, there's new techniques, there's new ways of learning, there's new ways of playing rock and roll. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, when I'm in a rock and roll band now in 2018, I try to preserve the art form of rock and roll. But I think to myself, it's 2018. So of course, there's going to be new innovative things going on within that rock and roll music. Just like Angela is doing with education in MZcoin. Now here's what's really cool. So basically, she and we're gonna do some more interviews with Angela, and there's a lot more information to come, because this project, hopefully the ICO will be launched in the second quarter of 2018, sometime around then. So this is still, I mean, this is still very new, okay? But what Angela is doing is she's saying, you know, there's all these techniques of learning with our textbooks and going to school, and the schools have to pay for all the textbooks, and then as we all know, information changes constantly, daily even. So, you know, you get 1,000 textbooks to your school ordered, and then 3 months later, I mean, you can't just keep buying textbooks all the time. So the way the education system is running has been very primitive in the fact that she wants to look at education in a new way. And here's what I mean, and here's my interpretation of it. What she's trying to do is have an MZ connected educational for worldwide through the MZnet, okay? And there's going to be a bot, okay? A learning bot that is connected to the MZnet that is also being monitored through AI, okay? Now this gets really cool, because as somebody that wants to learn, you know, everybody in the world can contribute to the learning process, okay? So you got to think outside the box. Like when I think rock and roll, I don't think about Chuck Berry specifically all the time in 2018. I think of him as, okay, well that's rock and roll, but now I got to think 2018, just like she's thinking. So what she's trying to do, along with Jane and everybody behind the MZworld, is they're trying to get everybody involved with the education process. So even somebody like myself. Now I have an example I'll mention in a bit, but you have the ability, all of us have the ability to contribute, okay? Now that, whatever it is that we're trying to contribute will be processed through this AI system and filtered through. So if you are somebody interested in learning about something that I might have said, as long as whatever it is that I'm talking about is something that you're interested in, that you want to try because you're motivated to learn something, and it's a positive thing, then you're going to have the ability to do this using this bot that's running on the MZ network. It's actually not too confusing. I'm just trying to explain it in a way that I can understand and that maybe you guys can understand. But in simple terms, like picture this actual physical bot, okay? And it might look like Albert Einstein, for example, okay? Now this bot would be connected to the network. So not only would you be able to ask questions to the bot or ask for information, but you can also give your ideas or information to this bot. And then that way it'll get filtered through using the AI system and a voting system as well, that if that information is worthy enough that people would be interested in it, it'll be into the system. And then just like that, now you are actually a teacher. And I really, really, really think that this is going to revolutionize the education system, and that's what Angela's trying to do. Now, for example, she uses, one of her things is Scratch, okay? Now, basically what she's saying is, like, instead of trying to teach you ABC, what if you were told that you had to create something, and you actually had to go through the process of creating something? See, that's in a way more valuable than just learning the basics and then on your own trying to figure out what you want to do with it, which is still a good thing. And I also believe that Angela isn't trying to stray away from the old way of learning, because of course there's always going to be things that we want to keep, just like in rock and roll. I mean, there's always going to be that base that we want to hold, but within, you know, within technology and the future, things do change, okay? So what she wants to do is basically, it's like, well, can you know, it's like asking me, can you make this picture and put it onto a piece of paper and give it to me? So I have to start from the very beginning. I have to start with my creative imagination of what it is that I want to make. Then I have to make it. Then I also have to figure out how to make it and transfer it to a physical piece of paper to give to somebody. So all these things there's learning processes within the learning process. Now, an example that I wanted to bring up, now I've started, I'm a very musical and artistic person, and I've created my own font, for example, okay? And what that consists of, and which, you know, I would love to incorporate into the MZ world eventually. Maybe Angela will work on this with me in the future. But for example, I have a font that I created. Now, it's the alphabet, okay? And it would be lowercase, uppercase. So A, lowercase, A, uppercase, B, lowercase, B, uppercase, right? Now, in my font, it's basically, I draw these little characters. They're like little characters. It's hard to explain. They don't look like people. They look like little monsters, I guess you could say, right? So for example, the lowercase a is a little a that's parachuting, okay? So basically, if you can imagine, each of my letters will be these characters that are always going to be those characters. So if you were to use this font, and you were to type people things, all the characters would be the same. Every time you hit a lowercase a, it looks like a little a that's parachuting, okay? Now, why is this, why does this relate to it? Because if you were to tell somebody, okay, I want you to make me a t-shirt with your font that you created, We'll think about it. What do you have to do to get to that? It's like, well, first you have to be able to draw or have a creative imagination of making some sort of a font, whether it is just the letter A, but in your little way of drawing the letter A, or if you're even more creative, coming up with a different, new, innovative way of creating a letter, okay? Then you have to do that to all of the letters, right, and create your own font. And then you have to figure out how to get that to be like an actual font that you could actually type on your computer, because that's a learning thing that you need to figure out. There's ways of doing that. Then let's just say maybe that might cost money, and we're all on a budget. So maybe you don't actually officially make it a font. I haven't made mine officially a font as well, but let's just say you have the idea, you create your letters for the word or the thing for the t-shirt. Then then you need to start looking into how do you make things go onto a t-shirt, okay? Now I do silk screening. There's different ways of using the computer to print things out that you can press onto a shirt with heat. There's so many different ways of doing that. So starting from an idea of, hey, can you put something as simple as, can you write your name? Can you write your name? But can you give me a t-shirt that has your name written in a way that you wrote it with your own font? You know, that's one of the things that I would like. I think that children and adults, like starting from the idea of creating your own type of letters and making them go onto a shirt, it's just the whole process of doing that is more than just sitting there and learning how to do these things, as my phone rings. But yeah, so anyway, this is what we're talking about. I want to talk more about this, and we're going to. So these are some of the things that I pulled up on the internet so far. Because if you go to the ShellPay website, you can find the MZcoin there. But if you go to MZworld, you can find some different things that Angela has set up already. And like I said, this project is still very, very new. The MZcoin is part of the Skyledger community.